Rant with me, Pugs Moran, for a Monday afternoon. Yeah, it's afternoon. It's 12:09. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, high noon, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. The only time that's centrally standard. That's why we go with that one. And that's where we are. We're in Central Standard Time. How is everybody? We do the show every Monday through Friday at high noon. It's hot topics, current events, trends, whatever it is that the world is spitting out at us today that we've got to deal with, whatever nonsense. We don't do politics. This is not a political talk show. I hate that shit. Just stop it with the politics. We talk about everything else. Sometimes there are things that are political in nature that come up. And we talk about them like normal people, not like weirdos and zealots. So anyway, that's what we try to do here. Talk radio the way it should be. That's right. We're doing it now for 2 years. We are heading into year 3. We're in year 3. We're not heading in. We are in year 3. On this show, this type of non-divisive, we only want country club types. You know, we're casting a wide net here. We want everybody else. And to that end, we exist entirely because of you. That's right. We accept tips, and we are in a tip week here. So, folks, whatever you can do, this is a tip week. We got to get. Here's the number. Are you ready for the number? By the end of broadcast or stream, by the end of stream on Friday, we have to have made $375 this week. I mean, I know that seems like what? See, to me, because I'm such a freaking broken pound puppy, that sounds like an insurmountable amount of money. But normal me out in the real world that goes and buys dinner for people, I know that, that's not really that much. So considering that we do this show every day, I don't think $375 in 1 week, like an emergency amount, is too much to ask. So let's see if we can get here. That's how this show runs. Now, in the meantime, we got started off with a really nice little tip there from Charles Nelson, is our executive producer. Thank you, Charles. Charles dropped a 20 and above. He gets the executive producer title for this here show, and that's how it works. If you tip during the course of the show, and biggest tipper gets to be the executive producer of the day, but typically we don't have multiple tippers. So, this show runs on about 10 of you guys being like really cool and keeping it alive, and I appreciate you. So this is the week to do it. All right, couple of things. I'm going to leave that up there. Thank you, Charles Nelson. Charles Nelson, our big executive producer of the day. Let's see here. I got to tell you about my weekend. Now this is not going to be, what crazy thing did Pugs get into this week? I didn't get into anything crazy. In fact, I didn't leave the house. It was cold. It was rainy and cold and gray and just blah. And I didn't have my kid this weekend. So I took a lot of time and I did some other things. Here's the thing that I want to tell you about. I don't want to tell you about all of them. I did a bunch of writing. I kind of had the blahs, so it was like rainy. And so I did a whole bunch of writing. But guess what I did, you guys? This is crazy. You guys are going to think I'm an idiot. Hi, April. Hi, Bill. Hi, Al. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Byron. I'm going to talk about Jeff in a little bit today. I don't know. It's not a bone. I don't have a bone to pick with Jeff. Jeff and I are cool. I just something that Jeff is going through. I wanted to bring up. Ooh, what could that be? I bet Jeff doesn't even know, but stay tuned. Guys, guess what I did this weekend? So, so I have had limited access to laundry facilities. I mean, and by limited access, I mean, I have to go literally half a block down the road to Lemon Avenue and use there, or I can go 2 blocks in the other direction and just use E's, my buddy E. I can use his like whole laundry room whenever I need to. It's not a problem. That's why I'm limited, but I'm lazy and I'm like, I don't want to go over there. And I've pretty much been keeping up with my laundry pretty good. Now, here's the most important thing with laundry, right? With me laundry, not you laundry. You're normal people. I'm weird. Here's the most important thing with my laundry: sheets, blankets, and pillowcases. Why? Because my kid comes every 2 weeks and he has to have clean blanket, sheets, and pillowcases. Well, he's coming this week, and I was looking at the schedule and I'm like, man, I don't want to go do a bunch of sheets laundry this week. So I had to figure out a way to clean the sheets. How do you clean sheets if you don't have laundry? So I asked Google. Guess what? Google came up with some really cool ideas. So last night, I did an experiment. You know what my experiment was? I did laundry in the bathtub. Yeah, I did laundry in the bathtub. And there's a way to do it. Apparently, this is how laundry used to be done, with the big. Let me tell you, folks, I only did sheets. I did sheets and pillowcases. I won't do blankets and all that stuff because, I don't want to take forever to dry. The sheets are already dry. The sheets are fantastic. It's got a pillowcase right here. Okay, so I know this is crazy. It's like, hey, look, Pugs is realizing that people did laundry before there were electric laundry machines. Yeah, no, I know. But I'd never like experienced it before. And I followed the YouTube video and I did laundry in the bathtub. Now, here's the thing. I have laundry detergent. But the YouTube video says, no, if you're doing it in your bathtub, don't use laundry detergent unless you have really bad stains. And I didn't have really bad stains. I just wanted to clean my sheets. So you know what it said to use? It said the best thing to use in this particular case, especially if you have delicates, and I guess sheets are delicate. They're really good sheets. I mean, they're good sheets. Like thread count high sheets. They're good sheets. It said to use shampoo. So I used shampoo. And I had a big spatula and I'm stirring it and I'm rinsing. And yes, it was a lot of work. And I understand why the electric laundry machine is so popular. Wouldn't want to do it all the time. But I'll be damned. I accomplished something. I was like a pioneer woman up here yesterday. Clean. They smell so good. I can't get over how good they smell. You know why they smell so good? Because they don't smell like laundry detergent. They smell like shampoo. They smell like really clean, nice shampoo. Hey, Adam, what's up? April says, for sure. What are April and Leslie getting into? Rob is here. We got Al. All right. I guess nobody is enthralled by me discovering that you can do laundry without having to use a laundry machine. I don't want to do a whole load. Like I said, I only did 2 bed sheets. I did a fitted sheet, a throw sheet, and 4 pillowcases. But I did it with my hands, and I feel like I've accomplished something. All right. That's enough of that. Let's get started with today's show. We got a lot of stuff to get to today. A lot of stuff going on. Not a lot of big stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff that I'm interested in talking about. So, all right, let's get started. It is the High Noon Rant. I am Pugs Moran. It is the... Okay, sorry, I had the wrong date. Why do I do this? Every day when I set this up on Sunday, I do the wrong date because I'm an idiot. It is the 30th day of October, year of our Lord, 2023. October 30th is the 303rd day of the year. That leaves how many? Quick math, 62 days left until the end of the year. Get those New Year's Eve plans started. Let's do a little segment we like to call Erstwhile on this day. We start out the show by looking back at the things that have shaped our perception of what this day is. Previously on, these are formerly on October the 30th. Erstwhile on this day is what we call it. Let's go to we're going to go even further. 1831. On this day in 1831, Nat Turner is arrested for leading the bloodiest slave rebellion in United States history. Is it Nate or Nat? I should get it right. It's Nat. I think it's Nat. It's Nat Turner's rebellion on this day in 1831. I don't know anything about it. I'm a white guy. I was educated by white people in white schools. And, they mentioned, hey, there was this Nat Turner rebellion thing, and we never really covered it. Spent a lot of time on Paul Revere's ride, but I don't know anything about Nat Turner. Wasn't a part of my history education. Now, I had to go to Wikipedia and stuff like that. As an adult, you start to learn these things. On this day in 1905, here's one I learned about, although this was in high school, and it was specifically in a Russian history class, so I guess this isn't anything I can complain about. But on this day in 1905, Tsar Nicholas issues the October Manifesto. This was when the people, so Tsar Nicholas Romanov, he was of the Romanov dynasty, the last Tsar of Russia. He was the last king of Russia before the communists took over. So he was starting to see the Bolsheviks, the Mensheviks. We had all of these problems going on, right? People were at each other's throats, and he's starting to realize he's looking around Europe. And by the way, in Europe, all the other kings, his cousins and half brothers, and they're all related. Nicholas starts looking around and he's like, holy crap. People are rising up and pitchforks are coming out and people are burning shit. Monarchies are falling. So he decided that he was going to placate the masses. And what he did was he said, all right, fine. You can have some civil liberties, whatever, you dirty peasants. Will you go away now? He thought this is the disease of elitism, the disease of entitlement. You just think like, okay, here's one of my brilliant ideas. I'm going to give it to you people because you people don't count. And you just expected that to work. How'd that work for you, Nicholas Romanoff? Yeah, it got your entire family shot in the basement, didn't it? Sure did. On this day in 1938, Orson Welles broadcasts a radio adaptation of H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds, causing a massive panic among many of the audiences listening in the United States. The War of the Worlds. This is great. So here's a little tip for you. You got little kids? If you got little kids, oh my God, if you got little, I envy you. I don't have a little kid anymore. I got a 14-year-old big kid. But he might listen to this tonight, or maybe he'll listen to it tomorrow night because it's a part of our tradition. There are so many. If you're unfamiliar with the War of the Worlds is one of my favorite. The War of the Worlds, not the H.G. Wells book. What happened on this day back in 1938, Orson Welles, Mercury Playhouse. The War of the Worlds radio broadcast from this day in 1938. A young radio producer by the name of Orson Welles created this thing that aired live on the radio on this day, and it freaked everybody out. And what was it? It was brilliant for its time. Oh, sure, now we know what that's a fake news report. It's like supposed to look like, yeah, it's every day now, but it wasn't every day then. Back then, when one of the few means of information, the radio, came on and told you something, you trusted it. Because what choice did you have? Because everybody else was a bunch of idiots, and there was some trust in that institution. Orson Welles on this day in 1938 just completely shattered that by doing a play that pretended that aliens had invaded the Earth. Now, he did it as a radio. It was meta. It was people were tuning in and they heard a radio show. They heard music from the ballroom in downtown New York City. And here's with his band is so-and-so. And it's, typical 1938 radio that you would listen to if you were listening to the radio. Then in the middle of it, as part of the play, we interrupt this program to bring you this breaking news. The problem is people had never experienced that before. People had never experienced, a pretend breaking news thing. And they freaked out. People thought that the world was ending. Anyway, it's an incredible radio broadcast. If you are a fan of theater, of the mind, of voice acting, of closing your eyes, listening, and imagining everything that's happening, there is nothing better than 1938's Orson Welles produced War of the Worlds. People died. People killed themselves. People committed suicide thinking that aliens were vaporizing New Jersey. Fantastic. And what's also so great about it is that it's, for me, this is now a second generation. Like, I remember the first time hearing it, I heard it with my grandfather. They were replaying it on the radio, and this is probably like 1980, 1981. And I remember listening to it. It was a fantastic memory. And me and my 14-year-old son, have listened to it probably a dozen times. It's one of those things whenever we're trying to fall asleep. Okay, it's time for bed. Because like neither of us can just go to bed. There's got to be a TV on or something. So what we do regularly is we listen to the CBS Radio Mystery Theater. And you can find all of those on YouTube as well. But here's a fun thing for you if you got a kid. Do it tonight. Do it tonight or tomorrow. Tonight's the actual anniversary. Tomorrow is Halloween. Get your kid, climb into bed with them. And instead of doing a bedtime story or whatever it is that you do, pop on YouTube, go to Orson Welles' War of the Worlds broadcast, and just play it. Turn out the lights, lay in bed, listen to it. Oh my God. It's such a great, cool thing. Kids love it. I loved it at 11 years old. My son first started hearing it probably at 6, and he, loved it immediately. He can recite. My son can actually recite lines like you do with your favorite movie. It was on this day, Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, 1938. On this day in 1945, Jackie Robinson of the Kansas City Monarchs signs a contract for the Brooklyn Dodgers, breaking Major League Baseball's color barrier. Hey, hey! On this day in 1985, the Space Shuttle Challenger lifts off for its final mission. It's the final successful mission. I left the word successful out. Because the next one is Go with Throttle Up, the Sally ride. Oh, my God. All right, let's moving on. That's a bad one. Right. On this day in 1991, the Iraqi-Palestinian conflict, the Madrid... Wait a second. Hold on. Okay. On this day in 1985, the Space Shuttle Challenger lifts off from mission. Okay, its final successful mission. Okay, so Challenger lifted off today. It is October. So this was on this day in 1985. So it was on this day in 1985 it lifted off. Now, it exploded on like January 20th, I think. So it would have done a mission in October, and then there was only like a 3-month turnaround before its next mission where the Challenger exploded the next time it went up. Huh. Okay. I'm sorry. I just had to do that math because I remember when it exploded because it exploded on the same day as the 1985 Chicago Bears Super Bowl parade. And it kind of like was like, wait, what? What? It's like, no, we're having fun. Wait, what? That's really awful. On this day in 1991, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Ooh, 1991. Oh, look at this, 1991, 20, 23, and 9, 32, whatever. Okay, 32 years ago, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The Madrid Conference commences. It was great steps were achieved in peace negotiations between Israeli and... All right, that was 30-something years ago. I'm not sure great steps were achieved just by... Let's move on to birthdays, folks. This is where we talk about people who were born on this day. Buonam, buonam, buonam. They claim it's their birthday. Yeah, we can't play music, so sometimes I sing. Born on this day in 1735. How about Big J.A.? John Adams, ladies and gentlemen. I like John Adams. John, I don't know if I like John Adams. I don't know what I know about John Adams. Here's what I know about John Adams. Paul Giamatti played him really good in an HBO show. and I don't know. I like Paul Giamatti vis-a-vis. I guess I like John Adams. Happy birthday to John Adams. Born on this day in 1735. Born on this day in 1936, Dick Vermeil, American football player and coach. Dick Vermeil, man. Dick Vermeil is an interesting guy because Dick Vermeil was a very young... Dick Vermeil was like Kyle Shanahan, although the bloom is a bit off the rose with Kyle Shanahan. He can't seem to... He's having a bit of a problem. Sean McVay, maybe. I don't know. Whatever. Back in like 1976 or somewhere, Dick Vermeil was that guy. He was the young, we're talking about a league that still had dudes like Hallis, hanging around. So Dick Vermeil came in and he was like the young kind of hippie, and he was going to do football different. And he was a player's coach as opposed to, the classic disciplinarian like Lombardi or whomever. And he changed the way entire generations of coaches approach the game of football. Dick Vermeil did that. He was a game-changing coach in the way he did things. Now, he had a mental breakdown, or not a mental breakdown. I don't know. He's talked a lot about it, but he had a situation after taking the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl where he just decided, he's like in his 30s or 40s, maybe early 40s. He just decided, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to retire. I don't need this anymore. And the whole world was like, what? This young guy? And he retires for a whole bunch of years. Then he comes back. And by the way, the whole time he was retired, there was like still this holdover, head shrinkers when nobody believed, that generation that thought if you show any kind of mental weakness, it means that you're not as big a man as I am. That whole attitude. Okay, so that attitude was still there. And Dick Vermeil was kind of seen as a bit of a, he can't be trusted. And then all of a sudden he comes back, and what does he do? He's the head coach of the greatest show on turf. That's right. A couple of Super Bowls, discovers Kurt Warner, goes down there to St. Louis, builds that Ram team as a I mean, he was gone from football for like a decade before he came back with that. Happy birthday, Dick Vermeil. I've always admired that dude. I always thought that guy was a cool guy. Dick Vermeil, born on this day in 1936. Born on this day in 1939, Grace Slick. Yeah, I don't admire Grace Slick. I've heard too many stories. Grace Slick, Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship. We built this city. Okay, so I've heard too many stories. One of the things that I'm kind of fascinated by are stories and tales of how the song We Built This City came to be. I consider it to be the most vomit-inducing drivel the rock music era ever produced. I think it's just like it's the worst. It's not even, it's one, and then we can argue about 2 through 100 after that. But one is We Built This City. So I've always been fascinated with like the stories of how, because I'm not the only one who thinks that song is garbage. And it really stains the legacy of Jefferson Airplane that they put that song out. First of all, it's a song that criticizes the commercialization of the music industry. That's the whole point of the song, is that it criticizes the commercialization of the music industry while being the most commercial, overproduced piece of garbage ever. I mean, that's what it was. It was like, wait, is this a joke? Are they're joking? All right, so that's what it was. Anyway, there's a lot of stories about how that whole song came to be. A bunch of members quit the band. Dudes like walked away. Like dudes were like, nah, can't do it. But there was a whole bunch of cocaine and people were, they wanted to hit. And by the way, here's a little thing people don't know about We Built This City. Do you know who wrote We Built This City? The same person who wrote Marconi Plays the Mamba, which doesn't really make sense because a mamba is a snake, but I think they mean mambo. Marconi, the same person who wrote Marconi Plays the Mamba, same person who wrote that wrote Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Bernie freaking Taupin. Bernie freaking Taupin, the greatest songwriter of a generation. Man, everybody gets the yips, I guess. Even Seth Curry, or Steph Curry, Seth Curry. Even Steph Curry will clank one every now and again. I mean, how did Bernie Taupin write? And by the way, I have no respect for Grace Slick because Grace Slick, she didn't walk from the bench. She allowed that song to happen, and now it's a thing. Other members walked. Grace Slick, born on this day in 1939. Born on this day in 1944. How about Henry Winkler? Henry Winkler draft. Okay, we'll do a quick Henry Winkler draft off the top of my head. Greatest Henry Winkler. Greatest Henry Winkler roles. A draft. Are you ready? Okay. Henry Winkler, first pick off the Henry Winkler draft. Favorite Henry Winkler roles. Y'all gonna hate me on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, Gene Cusimano from Barry. Oh, that's right. Y'all thought I was going with the other guy in the leather jacket. No, the greatest thing that Henry Winkler has ever done is the character of Gene Cusimano on Barry. He is so funny as the failed actor turned acting teacher who is just riddled with insecurities and just horrible, horrible intentions. He's a piece of garbage, that Gene Cusimano on Barry, but he is Henry Winkler's best role ever, and it just ended. Henry Winkler's second best role ever. Where am I going with this one? How about Chuck? That's right, from that Ron Howard movie. What was that movie called? Night Shift. That's it, Night Shift. Chuck. It was Henry Winkler, and it was Michael Keaton, and it was Shelley Long, and it is still to this day one of my favorite comedy films of all time. What's the premise? Henry Winkler works in the New York City morgue. They hire a new assistant to work with Henry Winkler in the New York City morgue. They work the overnight shift. The new assistant is Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton plays Billy Blazejowski, and Billy Blazejowski is a handful. Billy Blazejowski turns the morgue in the overnight hours into a brothel. And that's what Night Shift is about. It's a great movie. So good. Henry Winkler, number 2. Number 3 in the Henry Winkler draft, we're going to go with Fonzie. There you go. All right, I'll give you Fonzie at number 3. And then who cares? He's done those 3 things. Happy birthday, Henry Winkler. Gene Cusimano, Chuck from Night Shift, and then, of course, the Fonz. Born on this day in 1945. Born on this day in 1947, Timothy B. Schmidt. Fancy name. Do you know that name? You probably don't know that name. But, this guy is like, I think Timothy B. Schmidt. No, is it? I don't know. I'm trying to think now. I'm running down all the members. He sang one of their best songs. So maybe he's not as low-key member of the Eagles as I thought. But yeah, Timothy B. Schmidt of the Eagles having a birthday today. Timothy B. Schmidt wrote okay, so here was Timothy, because everyone in the Eagles was so talented. They all sang. Everybody in the Eagles sang. Everybody in the Eagles did something. But Timothy B. Schmidt was the guy in the Eagles who, when they had to go way up there, where they had to go up there, that was Timothy. That was the domain of Timothy B. Schmidt. He did that song. I can't tell you why. That one. That's like one of his big Eagles songs. See, and he gets real high. And I can't tell you why. Happy birthday, Timothy B. Schmidt, born on this day, back yonder, 1947. On this day in 1951, Harry Hamlin. Harry Hamlin had about, 5-6 years of like superstardom, and then he went away. Never had anything else. L.A. Law, is that what he was in? Harry Hamlin? He was like Harry Hamlin was like an actor we'd seen in a bunch of things, and then he got L.A. Law, and then everybody knew Harry Hamlin, and then Harry Hamlin went away. Corbin Burnson too. Everybody from that show. Did anybody from L.A. Law remain a star after the year 2000? That is my question. Because Harry Hamlin, I wouldn't call him a star after 2000. I wouldn't call Corbin Burnson a star. All right, moving on. Happy birthday to Harry Hamlin. Born on this day in 1951. Born on this day in 1961. Happy birthday, Larry Wilmore. Very funny comedian. Love Larry Wilmore. Born on this day in 1965. Gavin Rosdale. Got a machine head. Better than the rest. Bush, man. Bush was so great. Oh, Bush was great. And then when they were just like, I can't work with you, man. You know, what happened? They were so great. Gavin Rosdale, happy birthday, 1965, born on this day. Born on this day in 1969. How about Snow? Canadian rapper. He was like what? Snow was the Canadian Vanilla Ice. It's like America had Vanilla Ice, and then Canada had Snow. Get it? He's Canadian. He's white. Snow is white. Snow is Canadian. Snow. He had that one Informa. I don't know the song. I thought it was garbage when I first heard it 40 years ago or whatever. Born on this day in 1970. How about happy birthday to the lovely and talented Miss Nia Long? She's good. I like her. Born on this day in 1981. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely and talented Ivanka Trump. I don't know if I should share my Ivanka Trump hot take or not, because it has to do with her resembling a sex doll, and I really don't know. Moving on. On this day in 1987, born unto this world. Here's what we'll talk about. How about happy birthday, the lovely Ashley Graham. Ashley Graham. You guys are like, who's Ashley Graham? I'll tell you who Ashley Graham is. Oh, hold on a second. Maybe I won't tell you who Ashley Graham is. Ashley Graham makes a lot of dudes have to think about stuff that maybe they thought they never had to think about before. And what is that? Well, Ashley Graham basically challenges every man's understanding of what a female form or the female body should look like. What defines beauty? Ashley Graham really makes men sort of go, huh? Because I know I had that. First time I saw Ashley Graham, I looked her up. It was I'm like, really? What? And then I look at the pictures and I'm like, oh my God, this is an absolutely gorgeous woman. This is an absolutely gorgeous woman by any beauty standard. I don't understand. So who is Ashley Graham? Ashley Graham is like the world's biggest supermodel plus size model. Yeah, right? Plus size model. Now I want to show you Ashley Graham, because that was always, first time I started hearing about plus size models, it was like, I don't know, maybe like back in the 80s. And it was always a joke. Fat chicks gonna be models now. Fat chicks. Yeah, failing to understand with that attitude that 98.5% of the female population doesn't look anything like all of the other models. So in walks this whole movement of larger plus size models, becomes a thing. Ashley Graham has established herself as by far the biggest. She's, the Elle McPherson or whatever. I want you to look at this woman. This is I mean, this is she's an absolutely undeniably gorgeous woman by anybody's beauty standards. Ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday, Ashley Graham. She's freaking gorgeous. She's a bombshell. Here, let's go through some of these pictures, because some of them are a little bit like, okay, look at that. That is a gorgeous woman. Yeah, okay, so she's built like she grew up in the Midwest. I don't know, as someone who grew up in the Midwest, I'm like, yeah, that's normal. Look at her. You should be so lucky She's a monster. She's a big giant woman. You know who's interesting? I would like to get. All right, there she actually looks thin. Like what's that? Okay, and that's not real. That's Photoshop. That's not real. That looks unhealthy and not sexy. Okay, let me channel my Radio Misfits partner James Parker, because James Parker likes to fat shame, which is so strange to me because I know for a fact that he seems to be exclusively attracted to vivacious, voluptuous women. So for him, I want to know where his line is. I wonder if James would look at this woman and go, "Ah, she's fat," like, make the Lizzo jokes. Look at her. Look at her. That is a woman who I suppose, I don't know what women's sizes are, but my point, look at that. She shouldn't wear that dress if she's no, she should wear that dress anytime she wants because that lady is banging. God damn. Happy birthday, Ashley Graham. This chick, man, I'm telling you, changed my mind. I always thought, what do you mean a 200-pound chick is hot? Or I don't know what that would be. She's fantastic. Happy birthday, Ashley Graham. I mean, just look at her face. Look at gorgeous. You're telling me what? Because a couple extra pounds, you don't want to kiss on that face? You don't want to lay on a couch and watch Netflix shows with that? You're nuts. Ashley Graham, happy birthday to her. All right, let's move on now. Now we do the thing that I like to do. This is what we call the deads. We go through a quick list of people who died on this day. Not too many today to account for. We go through a quick list of people who died on this day, and then we decide based on our understanding of the prerequisites for heaven and hell, where'd they go? They go to heaven or did they go to hell? So let's do some dead people. What do you say? Dead on this day. Dead on this day in the year 2000, one of the great early innovators of television. Ladies and gentlemen, say goodbye to Steve Allen. Steve Allen. Steve Allen was interesting. Steve Allen Steve Allen made a big mistake. He made a huge mistake because he didn't see it. He didn't see it. A lot of people in the moment, they have these opportunities and you don't see it. You don't understand what it will be, what you just don't see it. You think it's beneath you. Well, that was Steve Allen. Steve Allen was a cabaret performer, an MC, a host, a comedian. He would get up, he'd go to fancy. He was pretty famous, clubs. That's how you were famous back then. You played the copa and, that's the kind of stuff. He'd sing a couple songs, did a whole bunch of stuff. What does it say here? Game show panelist, game show host, American actor, television personality, singer, comedian. Okay. So that's what it describes him as. So early days of TV, Steve Allen, they're like, hey, we got this camera. We need someone to stand in front of it. And he went, okay, I'll do that. Because, again, nobody else was doing it. So he stood in front of the camera and they went, wow, you're pretty good standing in front of this camera. And then like the 15 people from coast to coast who were watching were like, wow, this guy standing in front of the camera is pretty good. So they gave him a show. It was called The Tonight Show. That's right. The Tonight Show with Steve Allen. Steve Allen is the original host of The Tonight Show. Steve Allen turned The Tonight Show from New York City, the show that, Jimmy still does to this day. Steve Allen did that show. And then like after a year, Steve Allen went, I don't see this turning into anything, and I want to get back to my cabaret act. That's like McLean Stevenson. It's like McLean Stevenson telling Larry Gelbart of MASH, yeah, I'm going away to become a big movie star. I'm leaving this stupid show. Yeah, a lot of bad mistakes. People make mistakes with their careers. Steve Allen walked away from The Tonight Show. They gave it to Jack Paar. Jack Paar was also good, which only tells me that it must have just been easy to do in the early days because they like the first two guys they grabbed. Then Jack Paar does it for 3 years or so. Jack Paar becomes a phenomena. Jack Paar, if you've ever heard the name Jack Paar, that just shows what a phenomena he was because Jack Paar ain't said a word to anybody since 1968. Jack Paar just vanished. But he was the biggest person in American television. And Jack Paar just kind of went one day after like 3 years. He also, not as bad as Steve Allen, because at least Jack Paar got some real serious notoriety and credit for what he did. Jack Paar walked away from the show. He said, I'm out of here. I'm going to go do bigger and better things. Actually, that's not true. You know what Jack Paar did? Jack Paar did something really cool. Jack Paar walked away from being the biggest TV star in American television. Granted, it was at a time when American television was much smaller. but he was still the biggest star in American television. He walked away from that in the 1960s, moved to like New Hampshire, bought a local public television station, and ran that until he died. That's it. That's what he did. He was like, screw it. I just bought a station in New Hampshire. Yeah, I used to be Jack Parr. Anyway, on this day, Steve Allen died. He walked away from the Tonight Show because he didn't see it. He's going to hell. Dead on this day in 2000. You got to go to hell for that. Dead on this day in 2002, Jam Master Jay, American rapper and producer. Jam Master Jay, of course, Run DMC. He was shot at the recording studio. I don't know what there's like a whole bunch of documentaries. The killing of Jam Master Jay. There's all these. I don't know anything about it. Did Jam Master Jay heaven or hell? I don't know. I don't know enough about. I mean, I remember. I knew he was fine, right? He's going to heaven. He was fine. He was murdered. He was recording. The violence and the crime came to him. All right, there you go. He's going to heaven. Dead on this day in 2005, ladies and gentlemen, El Lopez. We're putting him in heaven. Putting El Lopez in heaven. Why? El Lopez was the first Hispanic, not Latin American. I think he was from, well, I don't know. I don't know where he's from. You should know where he's from. He's one of the gods of Chicago White Sox lore. One of the first, I think he was the first Hispanic manager in Major League Baseball. Or at least the first, because there were dudes who were Hispanic, but they changed their names to like Wilson and Davis because, but I think Al Lopez was like the first one who was like, no, I'm Latino. Al Lopez, great baseball player, old head baseball player, Hall of Famer, manager, all of that good stuff. Al Lopez, dead on this day in 2005. As a Chicago White Sox fan, you better believe I'm putting the Skip in the Hall of Fame. Skip. He was like the skipper of the White Sox in the 1950s. When they were good, though. So, you credit. Dead on this day in 2013, Peter Haycock, English singer, songwriter. Who is Peter Haycock? I'm putting Peter Haycock in heaven. Here's why. Dead on this day in 2013, Peter Haycock's going to heaven. Peter Haycock was the founder, singer, and lead guitarist for the band The Climax Blues Band. Climax Blues Band. You may have never heard of them. I don't know why you would, but they got one song that is an absolute banger, like an all-time banger. So he's going to heaven. Pete Haycock is going to heaven because he's the dude singing there on Couldn't Get It Right by the Climax Blues Band. That bass line, funk, New York City took me by surprise. Oh, okay. Peter Haycock, he's going to heaven. We're putting him there. Steve Allen went to hell because he was dumb. He walked away. Right? Yeah. Like I haven't been dumb. All right. I'm going to hell too, though. I've already stated that I probably think I'm going to hell. Steve Allen went to hell. Jam Master Jay went to heaven. Al Lopez went to heaven. Peter Haycock went to heaven. There you go. Did I put Jam Master Jay in hell? No, he went to heaven, right? Because he was working. That was my rationale. Oh, my God. Absolutely absurd rationale. All right. Thank you, folks. That's it. Once again, I'd like to remind you all that this show is 100% supported by you. And today's show is executive produced by the great Charles Nelson. Charles Nelson dropped the tip over $20. He's the executive producer. We certainly do appreciate that. We are trying to raise as much money as we can this week. This show needs to raise $375 this week. 5 shows, $375. Let's see if we can do it. If we can, it doesn't deserve to go on. And that's just the honest to God truth. All right. What do I want to mention? There was something I was just going to mention. Boo. Yeah. We'll get into the Ranger game. We're going to get into all of that stuff. Man, it's hot in here. Hey, do you guys ever run out of dog food and find yourself cooking really elaborate meals exclusively for your dog because you feel so guilty that you allowed yourself to run out of dog food? Yeah, that's what I did yesterday. I didn't want to go to the store. It was raining. Look, I knew I had to go to the store this weekend. I knew at some point this weekend I had to go, but it was raining and it was cold and I had the blahs and there were things that I was doing around the house and, a lot of stuff going on. So I didn't. And by Sunday comes around and there is no dog food. There is, however, one can of like Alpo beef. Like it's a can of Alpo, one can. But here's the thing: she'll eat 3 cans a day, so that's like 3 cans a day. She needs 3 for just like her daily thing. So we only got 1. So here's what I did. I made a bunch of rice, right? And then I made a bunch of mashed potatoes. And I mixed the rice and the mashed potatoes together. And then I took like ramen noodle chicken flavoring, like basically chicken bouillon or whatever it is. And I opened that up and I put it all over the rice and the mashed potatoes and I mixed that all up. And then I had like a rotisserie chicken that was in the refrigerator that I hadn't eaten in like 5 days. So I stripped that of all the chicken, and now it's rice and chicken and mashed potatoes. And then I took the 1 can of Alpo and I like sliced it off one at a time and mixed it. And she like just ate it all. Here's what I hate: I put a bowl of normal dog food down for her, and she will eat it all day. That's how I know if she needs more food. When the bowl is empty, she gets more food and she'll just eat it all day. But you make a special meal like that, she will sit down in one gulp. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. But that's all you're getting. So I hope you're full. And it was within 40 minutes that she had explosive diarrhea, ladies and gentlemen, all over the hallway. Yeah, I thought she wanted to go out because there were people in the back alleyway because it was flooding and there was like some work crew. And I thought she wanted to go out for that. Turns out, nope, she wanted to go out because she was going to poop. And she did. And I had to clean that all up. So that was something that happened yesterday. Yeah, I had a fun weekend. I learned to do laundry by hand. That was crazy. I made an exotic meal for my dog that ran through her like, I don't know, like what? I don't know. I got nothing else. All right. Barney's here. Hi, Barney. Barney says, I wouldn't say elaborate. He cooks for his dog too. I wouldn't say elaborate, but I do make a hamburger gravy concoction. I wouldn't say elaborate, but I do make a hamburger gravy concoction, then add all the old leftovers in the fridge. Yeah, it's fun, right? It's like, yeah, it's our animal, man. Our animals are dudes. Especially we got dogs. Our dogs are little dudes. We yell at them all the time, right? It's like, if we're not, there are 2 speeds with dogs. There's, oh, baby, come on, let me get you here. Good baby. There's that, and cut it out. Those are the 2 speeds. And I think I feel guilty about that sometimes. So the opportunity arises, we cook up a little something, make something special. It's not weird. We're not weird dog people. I even do this thing where I wake up in the middle of the night concerned that the dog is cold because the dog... She's a short-haired dog. She's a swamp dog, right? She's her climate, her internal sort of thermometer. She's like swamp-based. So I worry that she gets cold. And I've been known to wake up in the middle of the night only to put a blanket on her. Because, that's... And then I'll wake up and she will have shaken off the blanket and then I'll put the blanket back on her again because I'm not convinced that if she was cold, I don't think she's smart enough to understand that if she got cold, I think she might just shiver. I don't think she'd try and burrow under I don't know. I'm putting off getting into stuff because the first topic we're going to have to talk about here is freaking Israel. And I'm just so done with talking about Israel. It's, get used to it because this war is probably going to go on for a while. All right. So what are the latest headlines in Israel? Let's just, the ground invasion has basically started. I was watching a whole bunch of that last night, just on the static screen. There's a camera there, watching things blow up. Hamas is apparently blocking the exits of foreign nationals trying to get out of Gaza. Hey, more hostages. They're like, nobody gets out of here. They're gonna, let's see what else. The number of hostages is climbing. They're now, Israel is now saying that there are more. What is the latest number? I'm not sure what the latest number is. Netanyahu's taking a lot of crap. They say that he's not responding forcefully enough. But then the other half of the population, and this is something that's really starting to concern people. Did you see the pro-Palestinian protests in Tel Aviv yesterday? Tens of thousands of Israelis. These were Israeli Jews. These were not Palestinians. These were Israeli Jews, people flying the Israeli flag with signs, out of Palestine, they are our neighbor, all of this stuff, man. It's getting complicated. All the ways that we used to just think about this, the program, Palestinians are bad, the Israelis are righteous, that whole thing. It's moments like this, there's tens of thousands of Israeli people going, hey, yes, Hamas did this, but Hamas is not the Palestinian people. Okay, we all get that. We all understand that. But the problem is that the Hamas is so evil that they have sort of embedded themselves with the Palestinian people. So then it becomes, if the Palestinian people are so great in number and Hamas is just such a small group of them, why haven't the Palestinian people outed the Hamas, right? I mean, it just seems to me that would be the way to, but complicated. I have no explanation for it. I could sit here and be like, that's because they're all sympathizers with Hamas. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that's what some people say. It might be far more complicated than that. All right, I don't want to talk about Israel. We're talking about if anything really big happens, certainly, but there's a war going on there, and it's ongoing. There it is. Protests also were breaking out across the United States. Here's what I want to show you, this one, because it happened in my hometown of Chicago yesterday. And I just thought, isn't this a thing? I just don't know. I don't know what to do about this, because here, I want to show you this. This is a protest that broke out in Grant Park yesterday. It's on Columbus Avenue, just in the downtown area, famously where the 1968 Democratic National Conventions had their big old riots. So this is a good place for riots. It's got a history in it, certainly. So let's take a look at this. And I want to explain to you what you're watching here. This is a very strange clash of two organizations, okay? What we have here in downtown Chicago in Grant Park, this is on Columbus Avenue. What we have here is we have pro-Palestinian, anti-Israeli protesters. Okay, these are hardcore. These aren't the peaceful. These are Palestinian warriors. We represent the Palestinian people. We are anti-Israel. Blah blah blah. That's what they're doing, right? It's pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel protesters versus the Black Israelites. Now, I don't know. I know that there is a Black Israelite presence in Dallas. There's one dude that stands over there by AT&T Plaza, right, just Main Street there, like just a Main Street. He stands there and he does his Black Israelite bit. I don't know if you know what the Black Israelites are, but they're a radical, black, violently radical. Well, I shouldn't say violent. Verbally violent. They threat. But that's their whole thing. They stand on the corner, and as white people go by, they call them white devils and all that kind of stuff. Oh, it's fun. It's a really big thing in Chicago. I enjoy it. You get into shouting matches with them. Kind of a part of the community fiber at this point. But I've never seen this. So this is pro-Palestinian, anti-Israeli protesters in Grant Park yesterday clashing with a group of Black Israelites who, I guess, I never really thought about it. I guess they are Israelites. So I guess they are on the side of Israel and anti-Palestine. Here it is. Crazy. Here's the other thing about Black Israelites. They always seem to be very big. Like, they're always very into, like, the people they put on the street corner are their biggest ones. They're biggest, they're buffest, they're fattest, they're giganticest, they're tallest. It's always, that's who's out there screaming those things, the biggest ones. And that's by design, because they know that, that's less likely to, like a white guy, like it's a little Black guy, some 40-year-old normie might be like, yeah, dude, you got a problem. But not if it's some big, scary Clubber Lang looking dude going, hey, white man, there ain't gonna be any trouble. White people just take it. Look at this. No, it's really in the middle. That'll stop it. I can't tell who's who. Actually, yeah, I can. This is actually pretty easy to tell who's who. The pro-Palestinians all seem to be wearing Arab garb, like, shawls and stuff. Oh, and they're not the Black guys. And there's the Black Israelites over here. They all look like a bunch of Kimbo slices. Oh man, this is like Braveheart. Yeah, Braveheart on Columbus Avenue in Chicago. Right. 3 cops on bikes. my God, I'm just in town for the weekend. I came to see the Bean. I want to get my picture taken at the Bean, and I got to walk through this with my 3 kids from Kansas. Jesus. Water bottles. Water bottles. Water bottles are a better projectile than beer cans and beer bottles. It used to be all beer bottles. Remember, people get hit and breaked in the face. Not anymore. Now we've progressed. Now we just chuck water bottles. Some of the scarier among us, they'll freeze the water bottles the night before so that they're just throwing chunks of ice. Fun people. All right, moving on. That's protests. Okay. Matthew Perry, right? We got to talk about Matthew Perry here. That's a big one. Almost did a live break-in when my alerts started to tell me that Matthew Perry from Friends had died Saturday night. But I was watching the World Series, and with all due respect, Matthew Perry's. Oh well, I was going to say, Matthew Perry's actually. With all due respect, celebrities are going to die all the time. The Rangers are not going to be playing in World Series games all the time. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to have to miss this one. We're not going to do anything. I probably could have made some money too. There probably would have been some tips for going live with that one, but I couldn't. I had to watch the Rangers. That's how dedicated I am to this Rangers mission. Okay, so we'll just talk about Matthew Perry. We all know the story. We all know if you're Gen X, Matthew Perry is certainly a major star, one of the biggest television stars of Generation X. Friends, and Friends. I mean, that would be enough, right? Like Matt LeBlanc dies, and we go, "Oh, he was in Friends." But even inside Friends, when you start parsing it even more, you start to see that Chandler Bing, the character that was played by Matthew Perry, was the best thing about Friends. That's what I'm saying. That's what I had to think about this. I did a Friends draft on Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. I did a Friends draft on Twitter. By the way, whoever when Elon Musk gets out of this thing X or whatever, because there was a story yesterday about how he's quietly trying to get out, trying to save face. As soon as he gets out of Twitter, it's going back to Twitter, right? Like they know that like the next guy that comes in, they're not going to go like, you built such a great brand in X. No, they're going right back to Twitter. Coke, new Coke. That's what we're going to get. We're going to get Coke, new Coke, back to Coke again. That's what I'm hoping. He was, Matthew Perry, Chandler Bing was hysterical. He was dry. He was snarky. He was a dick, but also likable. He was a guy. I always thought of Matthew Perry's portrayal of Chandler as a guy who never got punched in the face. Like Chandler, if Chandler in 8th grade, if Chandler had made one of his like little smart, snarky comments and some dude had just laid him out in 8th grade, would have changed the course of his life. But that never happened for old Chandler Bing. So he became the character that we loved on Friends. Died in his hot tub. On Saturday. His assistant found him. He had just finished 2 hours of pickleball. Apparently Matthew Perry likes pickleball. Okay, so who's Matthew Perry? Matthew Perry is an actor from Friends, important to Generation X, from Massachusetts, spent a lot of time in Canada. His mother was press secretary to Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. He grew up with Justin Trudeau. In fact, Matthew Perry bullied Justin Trudeau, the current Prime Minister of Canada, as a child. They grew up together. Matthew Perry's stepdad. This was crazy because I thought I just knew all kinds of fun facts and stupid stuff. I had no idea that Matthew Perry was raised by Keith Morrison of Dateline NBC. That's right. You guys know that? You guys know that's wild, isn't it? Keith Morrison, the guy who Bill Hader on Saturday Night Live made famous, and then what happened? That creepy. That's Keith Morrison. That dude married Matthew Perry's mom in 1981 and raised Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry's real father, his bio dad. Here's another fun fact, 1970s Gen X fun fact. Matthew Perry's bio dad is the Old Spice guy. Remember the Old Spice commercials? He was a sailor and we don't know what he was doing. He was in the Merchant Marine. He seemed awful clean for a man in the Merchant Marine, but he had just gotten in port. And he was looking for his Old Spice. That was Matthew Perry's dad. That was his real bio dad. And then his mom, who is like press secretary to, the prime minister of Canada, she leaves the Old Spice guy and takes Matthew Perry back up to Canada from Boston. And that's where she meets Canadian reporter, because she was a press secretary so she dealt with the press. So Matthew Perry's mom met Canadian reporter Keith Morrison, who we all know now as Keith Morrison from Dateline NBC. Here, I found this. I wanted to show this to you. I thought this was really interesting, just if you don't know who Keith Morrison is. This is a fun little video. Hold on. It's a video that I found it on YouTube of Bill Hader and Keith Morrison. Just if you're not sure who I'm talking about, the man who raised Matthew Perry. Hold on, we'll go back to one. Is it 1 minute? Yeah, I think it's 1 minute in. All right. Oh, for crying out loud. Hold on. I gotta wait out this stupid commercial on YouTube. Okay. So here's a prank that was played on Bill Hader. Bill Hader was doing they were doing a sketch for Saturday Night Live where Bill Hader plays Keith Morrison, and Keith Morrison was enlisted to do some voiceovers for it. But the thing is that Keith Morrison wasn't in New York. He was in Los Angeles, so they had to do it via satellite. So Bill Hader went to the Dateline offices in New York to work on this and record Keith Morrison, who was in Los Angeles. Now, remember, Keith Morrison, I just found out, Keith Morrison raised Matthew Perry. This is the man who raised Matthew Perry Chandler Bing. Had no idea.
Wealthy folk would have been, had they known the deadly secret Officer Wilson was about to expose on the wrong end of America Street. Is that too creepy?
Let's take the temperature of the room here for a second. Hang on. What do you think, Bill?
That's pretty rad.
The general feeling here is that it's pretty rad. I mean,
That was crazy.
You could have given him some pointers.
I can't give him pointers. He's the perfect.
He's the master.
He's the master.
He is the master.
I don't know how you get better than Keith Morrison. I knew he was going to be here. I knew he was going to be here. Oh my gosh! Wow! Oh my gosh! Man, you're the man. Oh
I think you extended my career a couple of years.
Oh really? Oh my gosh! Wow! This is the coolest thing of all time. Man, no. John Mulaney. Larry David, there's so many of us. We're like massive fans of yours, and we'll always be like, "You see what Keith Morrison?" I mean, you're just the. I'm super. This is me completely.
The first time my daughter lived in New York, and I was in L.A., and she phoned me at about, whatever it was, 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, and she's screaming into the phone.
All right, so anyway, that's Keith Morrison. I thought that was interesting to learn that he raised Matthew Perry. And not just like married his mom when Matthew Perry was already on Friends. He married Matthew Perry's mom in 1981. That means Matthew Perry was 12 years old. So, that's pretty much, stepdad. I wonder if they got along. They seem to have, everything that I've read, although, it wasn't a relationship that was highly publicized. So there you go. What else about Matthew Perry? Of course, a lot of drug problems. Crazy drug problems, like started with drug problems when he was 10 years old. He started doing drugs when he's 10. Started doing harder drugs and drinking alcohol regularly at 14. Good-looking kid, really good-looking kid. Been acting, moved at 15 years old, was getting into trouble in Canada. Mom couldn't handle him, or mom's high-profile job as press secretary to the Prime Minister of Canada maybe made Matthew Perry's actions a little bit troubling, I'm thinking. But at any rate, at 15 years old, Matthew Perry was shipped from Canada, from working right there, seat of power with his mom, to Hollywood, where his dad was a struggling actor. Remember, his dad's the Old Spice guy. So he moves to Hollywood, California at 15 years old, and his dad immediately just says, "Hey, you want to be an actor?" And to this point, Matthew Perry had been a really good tennis player. the idea with Matthew Perry was that he was going to be a professional tennis player. They thought he was that good. And then he came to Los Angeles, and his dad started getting him into all of these tennis tournaments, and he realized that being the best tennis player in Canada doesn't really match up to being the best tennis player in Los Angeles, because there's probably like a lot more people playing tennis at a really high level in Los Angeles than in Canada. But so when tennis didn't work out for him, his dad was like, okay, I'll get you an agent. And he started working in TV, and I was looking at stuff. I was looking at Matthew Perry's career. Wow, he was everywhere. I mean, starting in about 1985, 1986, if you were watching television in America, you saw 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old Matthew Perry pretty regularly. Never as the star of a TV show, but always as like, this is my friend Tom, and it's Matthew Perry, you know. Most notably, what was the show? Was it what's the Alan Thicke show? Growing Pains. In Growing Pains, Matthew Perry played for like 5 episodes. It was a very special Growing Pains. Matthew Perry played Carol. Remember Carol Seaver? Mike Seaver's sister, Carol. Matthew Perry played Carol's boyfriend, who died after drunk driving on a very special, you know, just as Tom Hanks played drunk old Uncle Chuck on what was that show? Family Ties. Matthew Perry played the dead drinking kid on Growing Pains. He did everything. He had a whole bunch of problems with alcohol. Says he doesn't even remember 4 years of Friends. He doesn't remember year 3 through year 7. Doesn't remember it. He was on too many drugs. 1997, he got into a jet skiing accident. Now, before 1997, he was already what he described in his book from last year as an alcoholic. He had already believed that he was an alcoholic. He was drinking every day. He hit it on the set of Friends. The people on Friends knew that he was drinking. They knew that he was hungover. That was the real problem, because apparently he wasn't really great to work with a lot of days. But, you know, he had problems, and those problems were discovered in 1997. However, he got a new set of problems. In 1997, he was in a jet ski accident, and after the jet ski accident, he became addicted to painkillers for 10 years. 10 years, 55 pills a day for 10 years. In the early 2000s, a couple of his organs quit on him from the copious amounts of opioids and whatever it was that he was taking. He began to look really gross and really sick. There's an entire season of Friends where he looks like he's got AIDS. He looks like an AIDS patient, super skinny. You remember those years where Chandler got super skinny? It's because he was high as a kite and ripped on everything. He said in his book that he felt that he spent about $10 million on drugs. $10 million is the number that he thinks he spent on drugs. And that doesn't account for multiple surgeries due to organ failure caused by the drugs. And these are surgeries that occurred 20 years ago. These are not things, multiple surgeries, 15 trips in and out of rehab. Fast forward to where we are now. Where we are now. Let's fast forward. Let's go back about a month or so to where he was. Actually, let's go back to Friday. Matthew Perry on Friday is a hugely recognizable star who doesn't get work. He's not bankable. He can't, it's like, hey, who's playing, hey, they cast a new Iron Man. It's Matthew Perry. And that's not a thing. Even though the actual Iron Man is, well, he's too old for that anyway. No, he's not. Robert Downey Jr. is older than Matthew Perry, and he's Iron Man. He's not a big star anymore, but he's got big star money because they paid them $1 million an episode for like the last 3 or 4 seasons. And then he went on, he did a bunch of movies. And when you do movies, when you're on a series like Friends, you get major movie star paychecks. Because Matthew Perry opening, what was that movie he did with Bruce Willis? It was so good, The Whole 9 Yards. Such a good movie. So you do that, and you're just a TV star, but you're making $20 million just like Bruce Willis. So he did well, got a lot of money, bunch of houses. But man, he just never got his career back. He got about 5 failed television shows that he's launched since leaving Friends. One of my favorites was Studio 60. Studio 60 was a show that Matthew Perry did. It was an Aaron Sorkin show, and it was Aaron Sorkin's attempt to do for a show like Saturday Night Live what he did for The West Wing. What The West Wing did for politics, he tried to take a show in the office politics and the behind-the-scenes stuff of a show like Saturday Night Live and depict that. And it was called Studio 60, and it starred Matthew Perry and Bradley Whitford. It was terrific. I really enjoyed it. You look at the cast of Studio 60, and you're like, holy shit. Sarah Paulson, Amanda Peet. I mean, it was a good show. And it lasted 5 episodes because, I don't know, at that point, there was like some backlash. Like people were waiting to hate the next thing that Aaron Sorkin did just so, because he was kind of arrogant. That was a good one. He also had a couple of sitcoms. Mr. Sunshine was one, only lasted 3 episodes before they pulled the plug. See, that's another indicator of where his star is at in Hollywood. Matthew Perry gets a green light for a situation comedy, and they don't give him a full year guarantee. Now, big stars get a full year guarantee. They aren't vulnerable to the humiliation of being canceled after 3 episodes. Well, Matthew Perry went through that in his career over the past few years multiple times. It's not cool. It's not good. You and I and farmers in Nebraska don't realize what that means. But when Matthew Perry walks in to a freaking restaurant or whatever, and all of Hollywood is there, all of Hollywood knows what that means. So, in his personal universe, it's not a good thing. He suffered from depression. He was theoretically, according to his 2022 biography about all of this stuff, clean. And there were no drugs found in the pool. There were no early indications so here's what happened. So Matthew Perry's found dead in his hot tub at 54 years old. Beloved Matthew Perry. He is beloved. Absolutely beloved. Initially, the story is no drugs were found. Now, why? That seems what we didn't ask, but okay. Well, they put that out there because that's the first thing that's going to be asked. Now, Matthew Perry does still have a big-time agent. Matthew Perry does still have high-end Hollywood representation. So when something like this happens, have you never watched the show Ray Donovan? I mean, this shows you when something like this happens, how Hollywood goes to work to create the story and clean it up, and what is known is what's known and what is real is swept under the rug. I mean, I'm not saying that's what happened, but in the moments following the reveal that Matthew Perry had died, there were no drugs. And it's like, okay, well, it's because his agent was called first. The assistant finds the dead body. Does the assistant call the police? No, the assistant calls the agent because that's how Hollywood works. The agent gets the PR team and all of that. They get their story straight, and then police are on the way now, and now it's an official thing. But man, they get that story out there first. So they cut it off at the pass. No drugs involved. I don't know. Dude struggled for a lot of years with drugs. If there were no drugs involved, if this wasn't a direct result of him, I don't know, fentanyl, couldn't you see that being, well, he probably just did a bump. He played a game of pickleball. He was feeling pretty good, decided I'm healthy now. Let's do a bump. And it killed him. That's possible. But also, the damage that he had done to his body in these 54 years with the way that he ingested just anything that he could, drugs. I mean, they talk about he used to do psychedelics, which, are not necessarily problematic for your organs, but the opioids did all that. The opioids are why he needed kidney transplants and all these kinds of things. So if you're telling me that at 54 years old, his body just went, see you later in the hot tub one night, that's possible. Yeah. But I'm telling you, drugs were involved. Maybe drugs of the past 40 years were involved in that otherwise seemingly healthy and normal 54-year-old just dying. So make no mistake, drugs killed Matthew Perry. Whatever condition his body was in at 54 years old were the end result of 40 years of hardcore drug taking. Leslie says probably heart attack. Yeah, probably heart attack. Yeah. I mean, but why is he having a heart attack? I'm guessing it has to do with all of the strain. He's had heart issues in the past. That's another thing. He had a stent put in 2006. So how old was he in 2006? 14, 15, 16, 17. Let's say 20, 54, 44, 34. 35, 36, 37. He had a stent put in at 37 years old because of all the drugs that he did. He seemed like a wonderful guy, right? I mean, he seemed good. We like him. He's beloved. He seemed somebody worthy of our affections. But man, what a waste. What a waste. What can you say? I don't know what else to say about the passing of Matthew Perry. Oh, well, here, let's see if there's anything. What is the latest? The police are saying, what are the exact words that they're saying? Because they're not saying it was a heart attack or it was an accident or it was murder. They're saying something else that's interesting. More details are surfacing about the circumstances surrounding Matthew Perry's death. A source tells us he actually died at his own house after some physical activity playing pickleball this morning. We're told that Matthews came home sometime in the AM after a 2-hour round of pickleball. All right, so think about this. This is early Saturday morning. Early Saturday morning, the story that TMZ is being told, because TMZ talks to the PR and the publicists, the story that TMZ is being told is that Matthew Perry woke up bright and early on Saturday morning. He got his ass down to his new passion, pickleball, and he played a ferocious game of pickleball for 2 hours before returning home to relax in his hot tub. Okay. Certainly sounds better than he had spent all night in the back room at the Viper Club with a whole bunch of Playboy playmates and about a half pound of blow. Yeah, that sounds better. He woke up early on Saturday, went and played pickleball. That's good. That sounds better. But again, it's Hollywood. So remember, dude, if you people aren't going to believe doctors and stuff when they tell you about crazy viruses, you better not believe Hollywood when they tell you. Please have a little bit of consistency with your skepticism. We're told Matthews came home at sometime after a 2-hour game of pickleball and that his assistant had been sent out for an errand. When she returned from the assistant about 2 hours later, Perry was discovered unresponsive in his hot tub. It is unclear if what Matthew was doing before his passing played any role in his death at this point. The investigation into his death is underway. Our sources say first responders rushed over on a call for cardiac arrest. That is what they were responding to. It is unclear where exactly on the grounds this happened. Well, that was an earlier report. Now they're saying it was in the jacuzzi, right? All right, there you have it. Matthew Perry. It was a real shocker, wasn't it? Wasn't that one of them? Wasn't that one where you just, like, when I saw that, I was like, I'll tell you how I saw it. I was just scrolling through Twitter, just ripping through Twitter on Saturday evening. And I just see this big picture of Matthew Perry, and I'm scrolling. I don't care. It's a fucking picture of Matthew Perry. I'm like, eh. And it's from this, like, website that's, like, real alarmist and oftentimes has, like, bullshit. So I wasn't really paying attention. And then I see another picture of Matthew Perry again, and because Twitter doesn't do the headlines anymore. It's just pictures now. It used to be if you share a story, it'll give you the headline and the picture. No, Twitter doesn't do that anymore because they're just about making shit less interesting and fun. So now it's just a picture. So I'm seeing these pictures of Matthew Perry, and then all of a sudden my eye glances over to the trends, and I see Matthew Perry's trending, and I'm like, oh, fuck, what's happening? Shocking. It was shocking. I mean, it was like, wait. No, he's one of us. He's like one of. He's not. This is not. I mean, car accident, plane crash, drug overdose. Sure, we're used to this, but just 54 dead in a hot tub. That doesn't feel good to the rest of us who are also 54 with a hot tub. Yeah, I don't know, what does that mean. I partied in my day, but certainly not to the ongoing extent of a Matthew Perry. Certainly not every single day of my life. So, and I'm not really addicted to anything. I think that's pretty safe to say. Nicotine. I got my nicotine pouches. That's it. But I don't even smoke or anything. I don't smoke. I don't, do chew anymore. I don't know. They're difficult. The main shooter. Let's talk about the main shooter now. The main shooter was found Friday night. Manhunt lasted a whole 4 days or whatever it was, and they found this piece of garbage there. He went back to the place that he'd been fired from, the main recycling there, right on the river, the Agagapogaga. It's a cool name for a river that we've been looking at in Maine. Lewiston, Maine. Agapoco River. I don't know. I've never heard of this river before, but it's quite big and it looks really beautiful. And from all the time I've spent on Google Maps in the area, looks like a really nice place to go visit. It's just a really nice place for a weekend, a bed and breakfast. Maine. Now Maine can go back to being Maine, a place that we totally forget as a state. Maine, New Hampshire, Delaware, those three. It's like, really? Did you really? You can't just be like absorbed into the state next to you. He was found. He's dead. He killed himself. And there's that with that. So the main shooter, we don't know why. We still don't know why. He didn't seem to leave any reason why. I mean, I think we know why, because he's fucking nuts and he just, he nuts. Heard voices. He told people all summer long he was in a crazy bin. Remember, because he's in the Army and he said, hey, I want to kill everybody on this base with my gun. And the Army said, yeah, you shouldn't say that. And he goes, I know I shouldn't say that. And the Army said, maybe you should go check in with a doctor. Go tell the doc what you said. And so he goes over to the doc. Hey, I want to kill everybody on this base. And they're like, okay, you're in a mental institution. Now, that was a bit reductive, the way I just told that story. I'm sure there was far more complicated conversations than what I just, but time is of the essence. So we move on. He spends a whole month or so in a crazy bin, a military crazy bin. And then his insurance ran out and they were like, yeah, we need the bed. Let's get rid of him. He's fine. I'm sure he's fine. And he kills everybody. So whatever. That's the problem. I don't care why. I don't care. He did it because of Trump. He did it because of Obama. I don't care. Shut up. Shut up with that. Nobody cares why he did it. We care that he did it. He did it. That's the thing. I don't care why. But isn't it fun? No, you needing to know the motivation for this madman only shows how little you actually care about the event itself. You don't give a shit about it. You just care about, is he one of us or one of them? That's all you care about, you piece of garbage. He's dead. That piece of garbage is dead. There you go. Main shooter, gone. He's out. Pence is also gone and out. I watched Penn on Saturday. I had the news on and they broke in. We breaking in with Mike Pence. He's quitting. I'm like, yeah, no doubt he's quitting. He knew he was quitting from the goddamn beginning. What you think Mike Pence thought that he could win? Mike Pence, the guy who looked out the windows of the Capitol on January 6th and saw his own party erecting guillotines with his name on it? You think that guy thought he had a shit-all chance in hell? No, of course he didn't. Oh, me and Mama and Jesus and the Lord and all that. Fuck you. You're a con man. Anybody stupid enough to think that you are a pious individual probably sent you $10, $15, $20. They sent you money these past 9 months and you compiled a war chest, didn't you? And now you get up on stage yesterday and here's what he said. I vomited. I made me so mad because this is exactly what they do. Here's what he said. I am stepping aside from this fight, but I want you to know that I will continue to fight for you through the establishment of a commitment. He basically just told the people what I tell you all the time. These dudes know they can't win, but their dumb supporters don't know they can't win. So the dumb supporters write checks. And oh my God, if you can find a rich, dumb supporter, find me a rich, dumb supporter. That's what the show needs. Actually, no, the show needs a rich, cool supporter. Because rich, dumb doesn't listen to talk radio. Anyway, not this kind anyway. So yeah, he got up on stage and he amassed all of this money. And now he's like, how much money we got in the coffers? And they're like, well, you've raised about $15 million. And he's like, Mama, can we live on that for the next 20 years? And they're like, yeah, we sure can. And that's what they're going to do now. Mike Pence ran for president, made $20 million, now has a pretend political action committee where he's going to use that money that you donated so that he could become president. He can now use that money to support the very same issues that you supported when you sent him that check. He's going to do that. He sure is. And he's going to do that by giving $50 to the local dog catcher election. And he's going to do that by giving $100 to whoever it is in your hometown running for the school board. He's also going to buy himself a brand new Navigator. And he might get that summer house that they've been wanting now that, he's no longer vice president. That's what Mike Pence did to you. That's what Mike Pence did. And that's what they all do. Spice Girls are trending. Why are the Spice Girls trending? Why in the year 2023 are the Spice Girls trending? Well, it's because it's 30th anniversary of the Spice Girls. Did you know that? 30th anniversary of Spice Girls. What does that mean? 93? Wait. God, why doesn't my brain work? 93 is 30. Well, I mean, 30 years is 93, but the reason I'm confused by that is because that seems way early for the Spice Girls. Like I would put the Spice Girls at like 95, 96, but well, I guess maybe it took a couple of years to teach them how to be spicy. I don't know. I don't know what they were taught. But the Spice Girls are celebrating a 30-year anniversary, and to that end, it looks like there's a big banging documentary, and I'm actually interested in this because I got to see this phenomena pretty close up. We were my first ex-wife and I went on our honeymoon in London the very same time that the Spice World film made its premiere and debut in London, and everything was Spice Girls. Like, look, I was a guy, I was like in my late 20s living here in America. I wasn't really big into the Spice Girls. That seemed to be something 12-year-olds were, but and they were big here, right? They were like, oh, Spice Girls, Spice Girls. Man, when we got to London, it was like, holy shit, why don't they just rename this place United Kingdom of Spice Girls? Because it was everywhere. So I'm interested in this Netflix documentary because they were so big. And when we were in Ireland, Posh Spice and David Beckham were living in the same hotel that we were staying in. Never got to see Posh. Got to drink with David Beckham, but nobody cared about him. He was just a soccer player at that point. I mean, everybody cared. No Americans cared. Like me and the other American I was sitting at the bar with. Let's see here. The Spice Girls are reportedly set to pocket $1 million each for an upcoming Netflix documentary to mark the girl group's 30th anniversary. The five-piece, which comprises of Jerry Horner, Emma Button, Victoria Beckham, Mel C, and Mel B, are said to have all signed up for the project with the streaming giant. So there you go. And big. They are big. Not for me. I'm a little bit too old for it, but certainly I know people 10 years younger, big on the Spice Girls. Here's a story that I saw over the weekend. I wanted to mention this. This was in the Wall Street Journal. It is the best off-the-grid states. Are you guys fascinated? I'm slightly off the grid. I'm like half off the grid, half on the grid. So I'm always fascinated at the idea of the people who just go off the grid. What is off the grid? Off the grid is just going, I ain't playing this stupid game anymore. I know how much money I need every day to be happy. I know what I need. I know what my comforts are. I am not playing your stupid game. That's my version of off the grid, which means, I don't sign up for a lot of things. I don't have my number. People don't. A lot of things about me are run through a third person because, I'm just saying off the grid is a way to live. The appeal of off-the-grid life for some is the sense of freedom that it offers. Yeah, it sure does. freedom from bill collectors on the phone. That's what I'm seeking. The appeal of off-the-grid life for some is the sense of freedom that it offers, relying on nature and small community resources, rather than mega corporations and powerful conglomerates. All right, let's just go through the states that they say are the best states to live in if you want to live off the grid. When choosing the best state to live off the grid, you need to consider a couple of these. Here are things you need to follow, factors you need to consider. Climate. Yeah, you don't want to be off the grid in some place. You don't want to be off the grid in Minnesota, right? In November. That's no fun. Land availability. I don't know what that means. I'm squatting. I'm off the grid. Land availability, you mean to buy or you mean just to like go live? If you're talking about just go live in the woods, I could do that. I could do that with like certain satellite and internet capabilities. I could go live in the woods. Regulations. I don't know what that's about. It's like, I guess, places that don't want bum squatters. And by the way, there is a difference between off the grid living and bum squatters. Bum squatters are like, those are just homeless people who are crazy. A lot of those people have mental problems. We off the grid people, we're just quitting. We're just saying nope. Nope, not interested. All right, so here is the list of the absolute best states for off-the-grid living. Number 1, the best state if you want to go live off the grid. I don't want to live off the grid this badly. I ain't moving to Alabama. That's right. There ain't no rules in Alabama. Nobody cares about nothing in Alabama. Alabama, located in the American South, is home of fertile land and mild temperatures. All right, there you go. There you go. Number 2, folks. Here you go. Number 2, ladies and gentlemen, the number 2 best state in America to live off the grid, Texas. Come on down. Come on down. The Lone Star State has plenty of wide open spaces. Laws there are also permissive for homesteaders. Valley Food Storage says, known for its affordability and accessibility, Texas makes a compelling location for off-the-grid living. Come on down. Live off the grid. Number 3 state for off-the-grid living. What is this one? Number 3, Alaska. That makes sense. You would think Alaska, right? Let's get eaten by a bear up there. Nobody ever know about it. Number 4, Colorado. Same thing. Same thing. It's Colorado. Same exact thing as Alaska. Get eaten by a bear. No one will find you. It's just not quite the drive. Alaska's a bit more of a drive. What else do we have off the grid? Come on, give me the next state. Is that California, really? No. What do you think California would be? California is the next state for the off. Number 5, California. I'm just scrolling down this Wall Street Journal article, and I keep getting these pop-ups that are stopping me from. And I know, I'm the one I shouldn't. Ugh. Maybe I should just pay for the Wall Street Journal. Maybe you should just shut up. California is number 5, best state to live off the grid. Number 6 is Maine. I was just admiring Maine while driving around on the Google Maps there, looking for the killer. Maine looks very pretty. Number 7, best state for off the grid living. How about Missouri? Nope. No, thank you. I've spent enough time in Missouri. Missouri is not a great state. That's it. We don't need to play any more of that because the pop-ups are just becoming unmanageable. Nothing else good anymore. Nevada, you want to go live in a desert? That's one of their next choices. Yeah, guys, pretty much we're done with real stories for the day. This next thing is I got a list here. This was published in the is this Dallas Morning News? Dallas Morning News put out a list of best bars in Dallas. Thought maybe we could go through that. Only because the number 1 bar is like a bar that I really like. And maybe everybody should go to this bar. All right, so here you go. These are the best bars in Dallas. I wanted to run through these. Now, here's what's bullshit about this. It's the top 16. It's the top 16. Because obviously whatever bar is at 16 didn't make the top 15 or even the top 10, but somebody who owns the 16th most popular bar in Dallas is friends with somebody involved in this article. So it makes 16. So I'll give you 10. Anyway, I mentioned that because it's the Ivy right here on Lemon Avenue, which is the Highland Park Bar. It's like the dive bar in Highland Park where you walk in and you're like, look at this shithole off Lemon, except everybody sitting at the bar is a billionaire. Everybody. It's like you look at the bar and you're like, oh, this is kind of just a dump. It's not a dump, but it's nothing special, and it's in a real crappy part of Lemon Avenue. And you walk into the Ivy and you're like, oh, all right, well, it's kind of a funky little bar. And then you look under and you see they have got the craziest liquor selection, the most expensive and rare scotches and whiskeys that you want. They got. You just got to ask for it. You'll pay for it, but that's because of their stupid clientele. So anyway, that came in at number 16. And I'm like, 16? The Ivy came in at 16 of best bars in Dallas. Somebody drinks at the Ivy. I think the person who wrote this article drinks at the Ivy and just wanted to make sure that they got their little. Number 10 best bar in Dallas. Now, this is Dallas. Remember, this is Dallas. So shut up with your Addison and your Arlington and all that. This is best bar in the city of Dallas. Number 10 is a place called 303 Bar and Grill. You know what this is? It's on Davis Street, downtown. It's one of these Davis Loft building. Is that where that is? Number 9, the Playwright Irish Pub, 1722 Ruth Street in the Arts District. That looks like a cool place. Number 8, the Libertine Bar. I've been to the Libertine. I like the Libertine. Number 8 is the Libertine. Brick and Bones on Elm Street is number 7. Hyde. Oh my God. Hyde. So we were at Hyde last night. No, fucking shut up. No, you weren't. Hyde. Stupid name for a. I hate these kinds of bars. Number 6. I'm not going. I know you. Number 6 best bar in Hyde. Ugh. Do they have bottle service at Hyde? Fuck you. Number 5, the Wild Detectives. Now that's a bar name. The Wild Detectives. That's a bar name, not Hyde. We're going to Hyde. I'm at Fluff. We're going to be at Fluff, and then we're going to Hyde. The Wild Detectives, number 5. Wild Detectives is in the Bishop Arts District, 8th Street. It's 314 West 8th Street. 314 West. This looks like a cool place. The Wild Detectives. Never heard of it. You guys know this place? Number 4, Happiest Hour on Olive Street. Looks like a burger joint. No, thank you. Number 3, Frankie's Downtown. I've been to Frankie's. Frankie's is good. Frankie's Downtown is on Main Street. Hop Daddy Burger Bar. I mean, yeah. Can we talk about Hop Daddy? Everybody talks about Hop Daddy Burgers. Hop Daddy Burger Bar. It's the great. Okay, it's a hamburger place that also serves liquor. That's what it is. You're going to a Five Guys with a full liquor bar. That's what Hop Daddy is. Can we also talk about the Hop Daddy Burger? Oh, it's the greatest. No, it's not. It's not even close to being the greatest. It's a good burger. It's a decent burger. It's fine. It's small and expensive because, it's in that area where everything is going to cost $20 and be 2 ounces. That's basically what it is. So if you want to get on that, I'm just pushing back on all of these people who think that Hop Daddy Burger Bar is the end all be all. It is entirely mid. Number 2, Hop Daddy Burger Bar. Adam, Hop Daddy is great. All right, not a burger joint. Their food is okay, nothing special. It's kind of a D-bag bar. Happiest Hour, that is. Oh, he's talking about Happiest Hour. Adam likes Hop Daddy. Yeah, I don't know. Really? Okay. Really? I mean, do you like it? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You go there and you can have a fine burger and all that. But this is the best burger in all of Dallas? It's not even fucking close. This is the best bar in all of Dallas. No, it's not. It's not even close. I don't understand. Some places just get good pub, Adam. That's what I'm saying. Some places just get, and I don't understand it. The word of mouth is really good for, and then there are places that are amazing that nobody, I don't know. The number 1 bar in Dallas. Here you go, according to Dallas Morning News and TripAdvisor. That's right. This was a co-production, apparently published by the Dallas Morning News and issued by TripAdvisor. The number 1 best bar in Dallas, 1800 Main Street, the Crafty Irishman. My son and I go here for Irish food. We went here last year for St. Patrick's Day. We went to the park right there across the street, and then we went to the Crafty Irishman. So I've only been there once. We had a really nice time. It was fun. I tried it. We're Irish. He's Irish. It was St. Patrick's Day. We were trying to, just kind of do a whole thing, and they came through for us. So thank you. There you go, the Crafty Irishman, the best bar in Dallas, 1800 Main Street, right there in downtown. Guys, I got nothing else. Should I just jump? I'm going to jump. I got Halloween costume ideas, but I hate this. I was like, we could talk about what people are going for Halloween as, but I hate this story because it's all Halloween costumes that are probably interesting and really creative, but I don't get the reference because I'm old. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm like, so now I get mad. I push back. So now I don't want to do the bit because I don't get the joke. And I feel like everybody's pointing at me going, ha, old man doesn't watch Real Housewives. He doesn't get the joke. I'm like, yeah. There's a costume that has something to do with Real Housewives, and I don't watch Real Housewives. And I was reading the comments, and everybody's like, this is hysterical. And I'm like, I don't get it. So I got mad, and now I don't want to do the bit. Now I don't want to do the story. This is who you're dealing with. So we got to talk about the Rangers. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We'll close out here a little baseball talk because how about this day, huh? How about this day? Look at this day. You know what this day is? This is the rarest of days. This is the rarest of days. This is a World Series day, and our team is playing in the World Series. The rarest of days. I mean, not the rarest of days. One of the rarest of days. Remember, I don't live in a world of absolutes. I live in a world of gray and nuance. So the Super Bowl's bigger. Yeah, okay. I said one of the greatest. Okay, your team playing in the Super Bowl might be bigger than a random game. Game 3 of a World Series. Tonight, 7:00. Who do we got? We've got Scherzer. We got Max Scherzer taking them on 7:00 there in Arizona. Max Scherzer with his sexy 9 ERA. Oh, God. That's gonna suck. People who don't know, like people who don't really understand the full context of everything, they're gonna name Max Scherzer, and then they're gonna show him warming up. And Joe Buck's gonna be with that 9 ERA. I mean, it's gonna look bad. It's a bad look, especially since Fat. I don't know how to pronounce the other dude's name. The other dude that's pitching against him has like a three something. Anyway, Scherzer's going to the Hall of Fame. I don't know if this Fat guy is. So yeah, that's the way the guy they're pitching against, Justin Fat or Dominic, I don't know, whatever it is, his last name. I don't know. I do not know the Arizona Diamondbacks. I don't. You want to talk about a forgettable team in baseball? To me, they're about as forgettable as it gets. Maybe the Marlins are also really forgettable, but I'm not a National League fan. I'm not a Western time zone watching fan. You know, I'm very little. They're not one of the big teams, so I don't even make an effort to follow them the way I do the Padres or, you know, the Rangers. Well, they're my team, or the other Western time zone teams, Padres, Giants. I don't care about the Diamondbacks. I don't know anything about this team. Here's what I know: we're going to win tonight, though. We're going to win. Why are we going to win? I don't know. I don't know, you guys. But here's what you need to understand about me. I'm not even remotely scared. I saw a lot of people panicking on Saturday. It's 1-1. They stole one from home. Yeah, and we're going to steal probably more than one from them at home. So don't worry. Don't you worry. It's 1-1. You know what we got here? You know what we got now? We got a best of 5 series that starts tonight. Best of 5 series. Yes, we've given up home field advantage for this particular 5-game series. But at what point throughout this postseason have the Texas Rangers relied upon home field advantage? Not a once. Not a once. We don't need it. Road Warriors. It'd be very nice to be able to win it here in Arlington, right? But that's okay. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Am I nervous? Not really. Not really, because like I said, I really feel like they're going to win this game tonight. I feel like they're going to win. They're going to win tonight. Now tomorrow, I feel like they might lose. I look, I shouldn't get into this game. This is not a currency I want to trade in. Because I have no idea. I'm just talking about what my feelings are. I mean, who am I? Other than the guy who on opening day of this year said the Texas Rangers, don't be sleeping on them. They're really good. Nobody knows how good they are. And they're going to the World Series, and they're going to square off against the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's right. I said all of that word for word. Go to pugscast.com and look at the rant from March the 30th of this past year. I did. That's how I know that I said exactly those things. That's it. I got nothing else. Guys, I got nothing else. You know what I'm going to do right now, though? You know what I'm going to do after this show? Okay, so I got a whole bunch of Oh. That's right. There was obviously not going to be any Radio Misfits show tonight. You guys, I don't care. I don't care. James is going to be mad. For baseball, yeah, for Game 3 of the World Series, I'm sorry. I'm not going to put together a show. I want to watch this World Series game, and I can't imagine that any of you people would put the... You get it. You know my point. So no Radio Misfits show tonight. So we're going to watch. I wish there was a way. There is no way to do it. There is no way to do it. I've talked to a number of people. I wish there was a way that we could watch the game together. Now, I know, yeah, we can go to a bar. It's not going to happen. I can't. I'm sorry. Not tonight anyway. It's a bad week. I can't be going out to a bar. I can't. Anyway, point is this. I forgot what the point was. What was I saying? Because we all watch these games on different platforms, none of us are watching it at the same time. We're not. I know we think we are. We're not. We're watching it sometimes 5 to 10 seconds behind somebody watching it on a different platform, because the way that we have chosen to watch it takes just a little bit longer and there's a drag. Hell, I have had games on like there'll be a game on a smart TV in one room and then a game on a cable system in another room. And they don't ever match up. They're never, like, you put the same game on. So we can't do it. My idea was I would just put the game on and we'd start streaming and we'd all watch the game together, except there's a 15-minute delay in the chat room. So any 15-second. So any comments will be like 15 seconds. That doesn't work for sports. Doesn't work for sports. I don't know how to do it. I wish I could, man. That would be fun. I would do everything. If we could do that, I would do everything that way. Like everything I'd watch, I would just stream me watching TV. And if you guys chose to watch it with me, that'd be great. Does that work with Netflix? Like what if like on Netflix, no, because of the 15-second delay, because of the chat room 15-second delay. Ugh. Oh, well, what are you going to do? All right, folks, we'll work all these problems out at a different time. We don't need to be bogging everyone's brain down with this because we've got a Ranger game to win. Let's go, Rangers. Seriously, though, look at how that dude spells his name. The pitcher that we're going up against. It's like, it's not fat with a PH. It's fat with a PF. It's like PFAA. TDP. It's crazy spelling. Crazy spelling. That's right, Frankie boy. Let's go, Rangers. Let's go. I burped. That was a dangerous burp. You guys want to hear another story about how I think it's going to be a good day? Do you know how I know? Why I feel it's going to be a good day? I woke up in the middle of the night last night with a pain in my groin. Let's call it there. A pain. Let's not say testicles, because that's where it was. A pain in my groin. And it really hurt. And I couldn't get comfortable. And I thought, as is the case with men a lot of times when they sleep, I thought maybe I got one of them twisted. Sometimes I'll the flagpole, the window blowing, it'll get twisted up in the. I thought maybe it got a little twisted. Maybe I was sleeping in a strange way. My legs were crossed. So you try to get comfortable and all of that and whatever. It hurt and I was concerned, but it was 4 a.m. and I was half asleep, so it wasn't so much that it kept me up. So I fell back asleep. When I woke up this morning, I thought to myself, oh man, wonder what that was about. Great, because when you get to be this age, all of a sudden, every new sensation is like, that's cancer, right? Like, everything. Never felt that before. That'll kill me in 2 weeks. That's how you think when you get to be a certain age. So I'm thinking, I wake up, my first thought is, oh, Jesus, what was that pain last night? I'm like, okay, but there's no pain now. That's good. So I get up out of bed, and as soon as I get up out of bed, I go, oh, geez, there it is. I'm like, what is that? So I did something. I pulled something. I tore something. I have testicular almost said testicular trauma. I do not have testicular trauma. I have some kind of it feels like every time I move, it feels like I'm getting racked a little. Anyway, it'll probably kill me, but that's not the thing. That story happened and I was very upset about it, but I've now been dealing with it here for the past, 7 hours. What time I woke up? I woke up at 8:15. So whatever, I've been dealing with it and it's not really that big of a problem. So if I've got to live the next 40 years of my life with this, I could probably do it. Just, there's these things now when you get older, you're like, oh, I guess my ankle now makes that noise when I walk, right? That's just kind of things that happen. So that's a good thing. Now, the other good thing, and this is why I'm telling you, I think the Rangers are going to win today. Here's the other good thing that happened to me. So I get out of the shower this morning and the phone rings and I pick it up and it's Emil. And I'm like, hey, man. And he's like, all right, we start talking about something. I think we started talking about the Duncanville, the Soto football game over the weekend. I don't know if any of you saw it. Number 1 in the state of Texas taking on number 3. Oh, it was a barn burner, but that's a conversation for another time. So we're talking about that game. And I tell him, I say, hey, I just got out of the shower. Let me call you back. I don't want to get my phone wet. So I hang up on E. I'm standing there. And I go to put my phone on the top of the toilet, the little toilet bowl top. Put the phone on the toilet bowl top, but I place it on a towel that's on top of there, and it slides right off. And it slides right off, plop into the toilet. That's right, my phone. This one right here. This one went right into the toilet this morning, right into the toilet. And of course, you reach in, you pull it out right away, and I'm like, no. Because, the show needs to raise $375 this week in 5 days of shows. I don't have any room in that budget for a new phone. So but guess what? Started right up. I held it up to the heater. Right? Let the heat blow on it for a little bit. Shook off the way. Not a problem. So that's good. So testicular pain, I've decided is something that I can live with. My phone got dropped in the toilet and it works. Connect the dots. Rangers going to win tonight, people. Non-traditional sports logic, to be sure, but, and how about this? Guys, speaking of non-traditional sports logic, so one of the little podcasts that we do is my old partner, my friend Kelly and I, we do, there's a fly. There's, too cold for you outside, so no, you're inside. Flies are coming in. The flies, what is this, the Amityville Horror? So Kelly and I, we do a podcast, her practical picks, where she picks football games, where she just looks at the entire slate of NFL games and she picks the games. She doesn't have any expertise. She doesn't even watch football. She's not even sure what half these teams do. Was that a running team? She doesn't know. She doesn't know what they do. She picks the games, the matchups. She chooses a victor based on the two mascots. She just looks at one mascot versus another mascot and goes, like last night, it was the Cowboys versus the Chargers. I don't know what her rationale was on that, but I know that she picked it properly. You know why? Because Kelly is running the freaking table. Let me tell you about Kelly's practical picks based on nothing more than what she thinks mascots can do to each other. Kelly, the early game, starting with Thursday night, last Thursday night's football, the Bills versus the Bucks, starting with Thursday night and every noon game. There were 9 noon games and a Thursday night game. There were 10 games. No, 7, 8 games. Whatever. Let's say there were 8 games. She ran the freaking table. 8-0. She won every game. Then we get into the 3 o'clock games. Look, you guys, so far as it stands, there were 15 games that she picked this weekend. 15 games. There's 1 game left to be played. She only lost twice. She's like 13-2 on the week. She crushed it. And then last week, of course, she went 9-7, which was all right, but she picked and called out the 2 biggest upsets of the week last week. She said that the New England Patriots were going to beat the Buffalo Bills, and they did. And then she said there is no way that an old man in 1849 panning for gold could beat up a Viking. And she took the Vikings, and the Vikings won. So she had 2 crazy picks last week that paid off. She said, no, this is how it's going to be. These teams are good. And then she ran the freaking table. We know what, if I don't know who she got tonight. I don't even know, but whoever it is, the worst she can do is have 3 losses this week. It's crazy. I love that she does this, and I love that she does well. You know why? Because I hate experts, because experts are bullshit. Anybody who tells you that they're an expert and they know something, no, they don't. These people, what, you watch baseball better than me? You watch football better than me? I don't think so. We're all seeing the same thing. There are no experts. Football. You have 2 teams of highly paid professionals who, through a sifting process of amateur football, are the best available football athletes. Of all of them, we're going to put 2 teams together, and you think that one has the advantage. Come on! Any team can beat anybody on any given Sunday. Experts, please. I got to go get dog food. Never ending. Oh, wait a second, April. Thank you. April says, Pugs, don't leave us hanging. What exactly is your bone with Jeff? I don't have a bone to pick with Jeff. I read something and I wanted to address this in the Matthew Perry thing, but I was kind of deciding which direction to take that segment. I was going to bring it up. So Jeff Ballard announced on Twitter, I saw X, whatever, that he'd never seen Friends before, which is very strange. He'd never seen Friends, and that the passing of Matthew Perry and seeing all of these clips of Matthew Perry being so funny as Chandler Bing as he was, has sort of forced him to now start binge watching Friends. And now he's like all over me. He's like, the biggest beef that he has with me is that apparently Jeff in 2023 has finally fallen for 1995's Jennifer Aniston. I think that's what he's seeing, because he's all about Jennifer Aniston, and how dare I not. It's like he didn't think anything of Jennifer Aniston before Matthew Perry died. But now, since he's 20 years late to the party, he's just now discovering the magnificence of 1996 Jennifer Aniston, aka Rachel Green. Yes! Oh my God. Do you guys remember? I'm watching all these old clips. Do you remember how she dressed? Do you guys remember how Jennifer Aniston dressed? God, she did something to us men. She was always in like little cheerleader outfits, or they weren't cheerleader outfits. Like, it wasn't, I'm pretending to be a cheerleader. No, it was like a normal outfit that she probably went out on the street with that had, cheerleader attitude. It was just like little skirts and stuff and high socks when nobody's wearing socks. So anyway, I just think it's funny that Jeff Ballard has now, after all of these years, seemingly discovered Jennifer Aniston. I did a draft. I did a Friends character draft where I the first pick. So Friends, let's draft the Friends. Okay, here you go. Number 1, first pick off the board, drafting the Friends, is Chandler Bing. That was my first pick. Not because Matthew Perry just died. It's because Chandler Bing's the funniest character on Friends, I think. Number 2. Who we going with number 2? We're going with Phoebe. Yeah, we're going with Phoebe. Phoebe's hysterical. Phoebe Buffet. I love Phoebe. Phoebe's, of course, played by Lisa Kudrow. That's number 2 off the Friends draft. We go with Chandler first, then we go Phoebe. Number 3, I'm going with Ross. Now, Ross was someone that Ross was the dude that we all were okay picking on. He's like, oh, that guy, right? Ross is kind of the nerd or whatever. He's the bookworm. He's the doctor and all that. But still, he does okay. Ross was very funny. I enjoyed Ross. So number 1, Chandler Bing. Number 2, Rachel Green. Number 3, wait, is it Rachel Green? Yeah, it's Rachel Green. Ross and Monica. What was her last name? What was Ross? Ross. Oh, it's right there. Ross and Monica's last name is right here. Ross and Monica were brother and sister. That's Courtney Cox and David Schwimmer. They're brother and sister. Anyway, so it's Chandler Bing, Phoebe Buffet, Ross Green. No, Ross Geller. God, Jesus. Adam Reina with the win. Very good. Yes, Ross Geller. Couldn't remember that. Ross Geller. So it's Chandler Bing, Phoebe Buffet, Ross Geller, 3. Number 4 is where we get to Rachel. That's that Jennifer Aniston comes in at number 4. And of course, number 5, I went with Gunther, because Gunther is infinitely more interesting than both Monica and Joey. Monica and Joey are fine. Joey had his moments. Even Monica had her moments. But Gunther is my number 5 pick. And Jeff Ballard is just now discovering Friends. Should we all start rewatching Friends? I don't think Friends is, wow. I mean, I know it's been on like reruns and stuff, but I don't have a TV that shows reruns. Like, I don't, how you notice that Friends is on reruns? You walk in front of a TV at your grandma's house and you go, oh, Friends is on. That's not how, like, I watched Friends when it first aired, and I don't think I've watched it since. I never went back to binge it the way I have with Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm or Arrested Development, or, The Good Place. I never did any of that. Maybe I should try that. Maybe that's something. Well, I got a Ranger game to watch tonight. Maybe I'll check it. That'll be fun. Wow. Now I've made it fun. Look at what I've done. Now I've made it fun for myself. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch the pilot episode of Friends, because that sounds interesting to me. Knowing what it would go on to be, I'm going to try and watch it and see if. But I was there. That's like so right in my wheelhouse. Friends debuted when I was like a 22, 23, 24-year-old guy, right? I mean, they were a little bit older than me, but they were supposed to be of my, by the way, did you know that Matthew Perry, I don't think I realized that until just this morning. Matthew Perry was the youngest member of the Friends at 54 years old. He was the youngest, the baby. Everybody else was, a couple of years older than him. So I'm going to watch the first episode of Friends, the pilot episode. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. All right, guys, tip the show if you can. Keep us in business. That'd be great. We got that $375 I need to be able to say that I made this week. Doing 5 shows, 10 hours. It's not crazy. If I can't say. All right, folks, love you. We will see you not tonight. No Radio Misfits because of the Ranger game. Go Rangers! See you tomorrow noon. Bye.
Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a...
All right, I'll come back. Rob Barr. We want to talk about this. We can talk some questions. We can talk. Why not? I got nowhere to go. Actually, I got a lot of places to go. Rob Barr says, do you remember Courtney Cox being on Family Ties? Yeah. She was one of the hot girlfriends. But do you guys remember Courtney Cox from Friends in the Bruce Springsteen video? You remember that? What song was it? Dancing in the Dark. Bruce Springsteen video, 1983, 83, 84, somewhere in there. Dancing in the Dark. He's on stage and he's like, even if we're just dancing in, and then he goes, hey, baby. And he like pulls the girl out of the front row and she's like, who, me? Ah! And that's Courtney Cox. That was the first time I ever saw her. Any pictures of that? What does she look like? Now I want to see what she looks like. I don't think we can play the full-on video, but all right, here we go. Let's see. Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, they got these pictures here. So this was like, we all thought she was just a girl in the crowd, and then nope, turns out that's Monica. All right, that's a still. That one, there she is. There's a young. She's pretty cute. Pretty cute, right? She was pretty cute. Of course she is. She's Courtney Cox. She's beautiful. Courtney, she did too much. She had a lot of work done, is what I'm saying. It's not, her arms look kind of buff, don't they? And they did like a weird dance. Like it was like such a weird dance. Like, I don't know. Go watch the video. Go watch. I don't know. There you have it. There you have it. What is I'm having trouble. No, none of this is easy. None of this is easy. Andrew Adams says, I don't remember Matthew Perry on that show for the life of me. What show? Are you talking, which one? You can't be talking about Friends. I mean, are you talking about Growing Pains, where he played Carol's boyfriend? Yeah, on a very special Growing Pains. I don't know. Look it up. That's one, though. I have this podcast idea that I want to do. I think it would be so great. I want to get a whole bunch of comedian friends, and I want to do a show called Table Read. Unfortunately, everyone says this can't be done, but somebody will do it and it'll be great. I want to do a show called Table Read, where it's just a bunch of comedians and we read the scripts for situation comedies from the 70s. But here's the thing. I only want to do very special episodes. Like I want to do the very special episode of Different Strokes where Dudley gets molested by Gordon Jump, the bicycle dealer. I want to do the very special episode of Blossom where she gets her period. I want to do the very special episode of Growing Pains where Matthew Perry dies in a car accident. I want to do the very special of Family Ties when Tom Hanks shows up as drunk Uncle Bob. I want to do the very special episode of Maude where Maude gets raped. Yeah, that's a real one. Yeah. That's a real one. I made a list. Oh, you think I'm just rattling these off the top of my head because I'm that weird? No, when I was trying to put this podcast together, I went and made a list of all of the very special episodes. There was a very special episode where Maude got raped. Like, and not 1974. Maude got, oh, jeez, it was awful. All right, that's enough.
Different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now. Things are going.
Well, hold on, wait a second. You know, that's a good thing. You can't. That's. Let me see. Matthew Perry, Growing Pains. Let me see if there's maybe a still of him. Matthew Perry. Let's see him in Growing Pains. Okay. Well, yeah. This I see. I remember this. I mean, I don't remember that it was Matthew Perry because Matthew Perry wasn't anyone to be remembered. But I do remember Carol's boyfriend in the car accident, the drunk driving car accident. He was a drinker. There he is. There's Carol, and that's blurry. Let's see if we get a better one. Oh, there's a better one. Boy, Carol was cute, wasn't she? I always had a crush on Carol Seaver, but like nobody like said that publicly. Like nobody was like, man, Carol Seaver's kind of cute. She was like, we all kept her quiet. We were all like, just keep it on the down low. Carol Seaver's really cute. I think that's Friends, right? Are there no more stills from? I guess that's it. I guess those are the. Seriously, there are no more pics. He was in scenes. He was her boyfriend. They did stuff. Oh, look at this. So this is just from like last year. This is when they did that reunion. And I believe at the time I said Matthew Perry is the. It's coming back to me now. Because I remember I posted this. I said that I just learned today that he was the youngest, but it turns out no, I guess I knew that because I do remember posting Matthew Perry is the youngest of the Friends and he looks the oldest. He does. He looks the oldest. Man, trying to, you know who's underrated? You know who's Lisa Kudrow is a gorgeous woman. Lisa Kudrow, man. Woo. Whatever. Anyway, I think I might go back. I think I might go back and watch the pilot episode of Friends. I don't know if I'm going to commit to watching. I don't think that's necessary. Was Friends that good? Friends was great in the moment because it really did speak to the zeitgeist of the time. It was, I mean, for me as somebody who was that age, living similar lifestyles, starting your career, love, marriage, all, it was very connective. But above and beyond that, was it a good show? I mean, was there... it's good writing. I seem to remember thinking the writing was pretty snappy. Anyway, I got nothing else.
Always had to be on guard. That is understood.
Ross, I love this. Lisa Kudrow is mid AF. Sure she is. Okay. Lisa Kudrow is not mid AF. At the very least, she's a 6 foot thin blonde. Okay. That's not mid in America. That is checking, the main boxes that you need as a starting off point.